Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Be Better podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Orr. I am the founder of Primal Energies. I am a men's online coach that helps busy, tired, and burnt out dads have more energy, less stress, better bodies, better health, and ultimately better relationships and life that they've been struggling to do because they've put business first the last few years. And as well as obviously being a father, a husband, and a business owner myself, I've helped over 500 guys personally and been part of a company that's helped over 5,000 guys to do just that. And this trait that I want to talk about in this episode of the next 20 minutes is something that I think is vitally important if you want to be successful in multiple realms in life. And so, yes, there will be plenty of mums that resonate with this. There'll be plenty of business owners or career-driven people that maybe aren't parents at all or yet that will resonate with this. But I want to talk specifically to my parents and my business or career-driven parents, because I think this trait is going to be something that if you haven't mastered it naturally is going to save you a hell of a lot of stress, a hell of a lot of time, and it's going to make you wildly more efficient, effective, and also present in everything that you do. In your business, in your work, in your relationships with your family, and just take a whole lot of stress off your plate. And this is coming from my own personal experience. For someone that I used to be so rigid in my time management, in my calendar. Like, I lived by my routine. I lived by my calendar. Like, if you tried to disrupt it, fuck you, right? I wouldn't have a bar of it. I was so to the point where it was probably a little bit too much, but I was very rigid. And go figure, turns out kids don't know how to read a calendar or a clock. So being very rigid with your routine and your structure whilst you're trying to raise a child is not a good combination. It ends in stress, it ends in frustration, it ends in not as much work getting done if you want to, it ends in your child not getting the best version of you because you're frustrated, you're stressed, and you're not present when you're with them because you're thinking about everything else. So it's not a recipe for success, right? Not a level of success that I am chasing anyway. And so if you're like me, where you want to be successful in everything that you do, you want to have success in the career and in that business, and you don't really want to sacrifice your health or your family for that because you still want to have great relationships with your kids, obviously, but with your partner, you want to be present, you want to be a part of those core memories, and also you want to have adequate health to be able to be there, to have the energy to move around and run around with them, and then ultimately as well, even with your grandkids, as you and they all get older. And so coming from that place where I was so rigid with my routine to then getting thrust into having a child which doesn't live by a routine and being forced to then choose basically, how am I going to respond? How am I going to handle this situation of change so that I can still get done what I need to, so that I can still be a good dad, so I can still be a good husband, so I can still do all these things, and I can not stress myself out. Because believe me, there was a time there where I was extremely stressed, I was extremely frustrated, I was more so angry at myself because I didn't know how to handle things. I couldn't cope with things not working out my way, with not being able to do things at the time I wanted to, not being able to do things when I wanted to, the way I wanted to, because I have a son and he doesn't know any different. He doesn't know how to read the time, read a calendar. He doesn't know or understand, hey, I'm going to be with you in 10 minutes. He just thinks, I want your attention now, right? And so despite all this as well, I'm also very, I wouldn't say strict, but I don't want my son to grow up thinking that screens, be it a computer, a laptop, a phone, are more important than him. So my wife and I put a very strong emphasis on when he's around and he's watching, because he always is when he's in the same room, not being on our screens, right? So when he's there, he gets the attention, or, we're present in the moment. We're not working away while he's doing things and just neglecting him, because I don't want him to grow up thinking that that's normal. And so trying to battle with that as well. And my wife and I also we didn't fight together, but I guess we resisted sending him to daycare and using outside help for as long as possible, because we wanted to cherish the time that we had the most influence on him and the time with him. And then it got to a point where we just couldn't maintain that. Like we didn't have enough hours in the week to be able to earn the money that we wanted to grow and to live the lifestyle that we wanted to. So we had to make some adjustments, and he's in daycare. And so if you've been in that space before, maybe you're in it right now, or you've been there before, or you're still kind of wrestling with some of those traits of letting go of some of that rigidity to that time management, to that calendar, to that structure, but not willing to compromise your efficiency or your effectiveness, but then also wanting to be less stressed and more present, then this trait that if you can develop will improve everything tenfold. And that is simply the trait of flexibility. And I don't mean the gymnast flexibility, being able to bend your knee over your head, but being flexible in your routine, in your calendar, time management in your day, and being able to, on the fly, decide what is most important that needs to get done and where you should direct your resources. And by resources, I mean time, energy, and money specifically. Because there's going to be times in parenting and in life where you can plan something amazing, you can have this all set out, and things go out the window. To steal a line from the Outcast song, you can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Right? So you can have the best plans in the world, but if something else happens that overrides that, you got to think on your feet. You got to decide, cool, what's most important right now? What needs to get done? And what is not that important, so that you can move on. And so what really helped me in being able to still put enough time and energy into growing the businesses, really, both the coaching and Primal Energies, as well as still be here for my son, because I still look after him. I'm still with him full time, 3 days a week. So don't think that we've just shipped him off there and like, oh, it's easy for you now because you have all the time in the world. Like, no, we still have him. I still have him personally 3 days a week, and then work around everything else like that. So this trait of flexibility forces you to be hyper productive in the time that you do have. A lot of people say that, oh, I just need more time. Well, unfortunately, that's never going to happen. Even Elon hasn't figured out how to make more than 24 hours in a day, to my knowledge. So it's less about needing more time and more about how do I improve my efficiency and my productivity in the time that I do have. All the time we spend on our phones, scrolling on social media or doing useless tasks, all the time we get distracted or we procrastinate or we go for bathroom breaks when we don't really need it, or we go to the little kitchenette in the office, or we go and make our 20th cup of tea or coffee, or go for a random lap, talk to a coworker, whatever it is. All those little things that take up time when we're not as effective as we'd like to be. And then I don't know about you, but when we're not as effective there, and then we go into something else which is more of not an obligation, but does require more of our time. Say you go home and, because you've got to pick your kid up, you've got to spend time with your kid, and they're there, then it can be very easy to then blame that. Oh, this is the reason that I don't have enough time because I have to do X, Y, Z, because I have to pick them up, because I have to make dinner, because I have to do all these other things, and then externalizing that, and then playing the victim. Playing the victim of why it's other people's fault that we don't have enough time, that we don't have enough energy, that we don't have whatever it is we feel like we need to be successful. And so when you can really distill things down into what is the most important thing that I need to get done, like what is going to give me the biggest ROI on my resources to move that needle forward. And when you can answer that question, it cuts out a lot of the bullshit. A lot of the stuff that is like, oh, it needs to get done at some point. It's kind of important, but not really. It's important, but it's not urgent. Then when you cut out all that stuff and focus on what is the biggest needle mover, it will save you so much time and also stress. And so there's two resources that I have for you that I think are really going to help in this point. So first of all is the book, 10x is easier than 2x. And you don't need to read the book. I'll just explain the concept to you because I think this will ram this point home. The concept is that if you wanted to double your business or your output, whatever goal you're trying to achieve, whether it's how much income you have or how much fat you lose, how much muscle you gain, how much money you make, how much you grow the business, or whatever goal you have for yourself or your family right now, if you were to think of all the ways that you could do, all the things that you could do to double it, to 2x it, you would probably come up with a list pages and pages long, right? Oh, I could do this, or I could do that, or I could do this. And it becomes overwhelming because realistically, there are so many things that you could do to get that level of return, right? And well, 2x is still not a bad return. It's still better than 1x, right? Or better than what you're at now. But because there are so many things that provide such a little return, like in the grand scheme of things, we can get overwhelmed and we jump from task to task. Oh, I need to, in business, oh, I need to fix this funnel. Oh, I need to fix the landing page. Oh, I need to fix this. Or I need to fix the branding or the website or whatever. Or in your health. Oh, I need to try this carnivore diet. No, it's keto. Now I need to try intermittent fasting. No, I need to try interval work or high rocks training or steady state cardio marathon training. Whatever it is, there's all these things that might provide like those little returns, but it's not going to 10x your returns, 10x your goal, your results. And so when you think in that mindset of what would I have to do to 10x my results, my goals, what I'm trying to achieve right now, and you will come up with literally maybe 2 or 3 things that you could do that would provide you that level of return. And when you can simplify your efforts to that, it becomes a hell of a lot easier. When you are already short on your resources, figuring out what will give you the biggest ROI can save you a lot of stress, save you a lot of time. And so when you do have that confined time, you're looking after your kids, so you've got maybe an hour to nut out some work. You know exactly what you have to hone in on. You've got maybe half a day because they're at daycare, they're with nan and pop, or they're somewhere else, and you've got the house to yourself, you've got peace, quiet, you've got your deep state work, and you know exactly what to do that's going to move the needle the most. You can make a hell of a lot more progress when you focus on those biggest needle movers. Okay? So that's been the biggest game changer for me. Not trying to focus on, oh, I wish I had more time, I wish I had more this, more that. Cool. What is the biggest ROI thing I need to focus on? Because that'll help you eliminate a lot of the shit. Also, side note, if you want a book on how to be hyper productive from a mindset and a practical standpoint, check out The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler. He talks about how to get into a flow state, which makes you 500% more productive than people not in a flow state, and can soar your results tenfold when it comes to work and physical output, not really related to obviously weight loss and things like that. So, side note there. The second, or technically third now, resource that I wanted to mention that has been really helpful for me, because I'm a very visual person, right? That's why I like my calendar, on my big desktop. I like to be able to look at my week, my day, everything in front of me. It makes it a lot easier for me personally to then organize things. I can drag and drop things. I can or can organize them a lot easier rather than just writing them down in a sequential list or just keeping them in my head. So if you're a visual person or a kinesthetic person, I think this will really help you as well. And this is nice and easy to do, and this can just evolve forever. You can just use the same system. And basically what you'll do is get a whiteboard, get a piece of paper, whatever you want, and just draw a nice big box, right? And down one axis, you're going to write urgent, 10 at the top, all the way down to 1. And then on the other axis, you're going to write important, 1 all the way through to 10, right? And so whenever you have something new come up, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I need to do this, I need to do that, or this needs to be done, this thing needs to be done, whether it's at home or in the business or for your health or for your relationship or whatever else it might be, give it a rating. Plot it on this axis of how important is it versus how urgent is it. And so because you've drawn this up in a nice big box, it will have the quadrants, right? You'll have your quadrant of urgent, of not urgent and not important. You'll have your quadrant of urgent but not important. You'll have your quadrant of urgent and important, and your quadrant of important but not urgent, right? And so if you're spending a lot of your time in anywhere other than that urgent and important block, then that's why you're not as productive as you'd like to be. That's why you're as stressed out as you are. That's why you're not making the progress that you want, because you're spending time on things that, are nice to be done. They're the nice, pretty frills on the side, but they're not the biggest needle movers. So if we spend most of our time, use the 80-20 rule. Brilliant philosophy, brilliant, nice and easy approach. 80-20 rule. 80% of your time goes to the urgent and important tasks, and then it filters down. Awesome. Then what is urgent but not so important? What is then important but not as urgent? And then you filter it down that way so that the effort and the resources that you do have available are spent focusing on the biggest ROI tasks. And this has made my life so much easier. I've been so much less stressed since implementing this because, let's be real, as career-driven people driven for success, for being better in literally every aspect in life, there's always a long-ass to-do list. There's always plenty of things that we can think of that we need to do, or that we at least want to do. Oh, I need to fix my website. I need to fix my sales process. Or I need to read this book or listen to this podcast about this new parenting hack. Or I need to do this for my health. Or I need to do that. And it becomes overwhelming because there's a hell of a lot to do. There's always going to be a lot to do. Nothing wrong with that. Keep yourself busy. I love it. But when we're short on time, being able to focus in, cool, what are the 1, 2, maybe 3 things, depending on the size of the things, key non-negotiables that I need to do today? The biggest, urgent, and important tasks that I need to do today. And you nail those, anything beyond that is a bonus. You can have some self-time, you can do whatever you want, you can keep working. If you're in a flow state, just go ham, utilize the most of it, but you've got the biggest ROI task done. And so that way, you can also use this to track yourself, because then if you then focus on those biggest, urgent, and important tasks, the biggest ROIs for a few months, and then you get a few months in and you're still tired, frustrated, and you haven't made any progress, there might be a chance that what you're perceiving as the biggest ROI tasks are maybe not the biggest ROI tasks. And so this is where, if you get to this point and you're feeling stuck, you feel like you're not focusing on the right things, I would implore you to find a coach or a mentor or someone that's either done the thing that you want to achieve or has helped other people to do that thing, and talk to them. Because they will have the experience, but also a different perspective to you, because we all have our own emotional bias. Like that's just life, right? We all have our emotional biases to the way that we see things, the way that we respond to things, want to do things, don't want to do things, all that stuff. And so having a third party that doesn't have that emotional bias can look at us, our relationships, our health, our business, like everything that's going on, and without an emotional bias to say why we should or shouldn't do something, say, well, here's the hole you need to plug. Here's the thing that you need to be putting those resources into, not this other thing that you're focusing on, and can help you really dial in those resources to that biggest ROI task. So I'm going to wrap it up there, but I hope that's been helpful for you. Because I know this has been an absolute game changer for me when considering how frustrated, tired, stressed, and just angry even I was, to now how much more productive I am, how much more efficient I am, how much the businesses have grown, how much more present I am with my family, how much happier I am as well. And it's returned spades in everything. And so highly recommend, like always, take action on what you've learned from this. I don't want this to be another podcast where you're like, oh, that was interesting, Harrison, nice work, and not do anything. Take action. Either go and read the books, 10x is easier than 2x, or The Art of Impossible. Draw up that quadrant. Remember, one axis is importance, 10-1. Other axis is urgency, 10-1. And plot the things that you're thinking about that need to be doing your to-do list in there. Take action on that, and then implement it. The things that are in the urgent and the important section, put them in the calendar. Time block them into your day in the best time that you won't be disturbed, that you have the highest likelihood of being able to get them done, so that you can make your life easier. So you can still be present with your family, you can still make time for your own health and your own relationships, friends, family, and all that good stuff. So I would love to hear what you take action on and what you notice. If it helps you to be more efficient and productive, if it helps you to get better results, faster results, if it helps you to be more present with your family, present in your work, and just overall kind of enjoy what you're doing a little bit more and reduce that overall. I would love to hear how this helps. Please drop me a note on Instagram, or just shoot me a DM, or just comment on this podcast. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Like always, remember, don't be sorry, be better. See you soon.